Welcome back to Half Dollar Today. We are diving deep into the fascinating story of one of America's most collectible modern coins, the 1981 P. Roosevelt Dime. This little silver-colored 10-cent coin may look like any other change you'd find in your pocket, but don't be fooled. Some of these dimes are worth thousands of dollars today, and one of them has reached an unbelievable value that will leave you absolutely amazed. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover the hidden world of the 1981 P. Roosevelt Dime. A coin that might just be sitting in your change jar, waiting to make you rich. History and background. Let's begin by going back in time to understand the origins of this remarkable coin. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime. It was designed to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who led the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt was not only a powerful leader but also the founder of the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, a disease he personally struggled with. His portrait was placed on the dime as a tribute to his legacy and his dedication to public service. The design we still use today was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The obverse, or front side, features a left-facing profile of Roosevelt, while the reverse shows an olive branch, torch, and oak branch, symbolizing peace, liberty, and strength. Now fast forward to 1981, a significant year for collectors. By this time, the United States Mint was producing billions of coins each year, and technology had improved, but there were still small details, errors, and minting quirks that made some coins unique and extremely valuable today. The 1981 P Mint mark. Explain. The letter P on your 1981 dime stands for the Philadelphia Mint. It was the main minting facility that struck hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes that year. Interestingly, before 1980, dimes made in Philadelphia didn't have a mint mark at all. But starting in 1980, the mint began adding the P to coins struck there. That means the 1981 P dime was only the second year to ever bear this mint mark. A small but historic detail that makes it special among collectors, however. Even though millions were produced, not all 1981 P dimes are equal. Some have small variations, minting errors, or conditions so pristine that their value skyrockets far above face value. Coin composition and design details. The 1981 P dime was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, not silver like older dimes. Specifically, it has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs about 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Even though the coin doesn't contain silver, its design carries historical weight and national pride. Every curve, every engraving detail, from Roosevelt's calm yet determined expression to the fine torch flames, tells a story of America's strength, unity, and perseverance, circulation, and common value. In total, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 500 million 1981 P dimes. That's 500 million coins. Most of these entered circulation, being used daily for purchases, parking meters, and vending machines. Because so many were used and worn down, finding one in excellent condition is increasingly difficult. A typical circulated 1981 P dime is still worth only its face value, 10 cents. But here's the exciting part. Pristine examples, coins with minting errors, and those graded by professional coin services can be worth far more than you might imagine. Grading and condition. Why it matters when it comes to coin collecting. Condition is everything. Grading is the process of evaluating how well a coin has been preserved since it left the mint. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless, perfect coin, often called mint state, or MS-70. A 1981 P Roosevelt dime in average circulated condition might be worth only a few cents, but if it's in uncirculated or mint state condition, meaning no wear, bright luster, and sharp details, its value can increase dramatically. Coins graded MS-65 or higher can sell for several dollars to even hundreds depending on demand and rarity. Error varieties. The treasure within. Now this is where the story gets truly exciting. The 1981 P dime is known for some rare and eye-catching mint errors that have caught the attention of serious collectors. These errors are like the hidden treasures of the coin world, and they can turn a simple dime into a small fortune. One famous error type is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin blank wasn't properly aligned during minting. Depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, such a dime could fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Another is the double die obverse, where parts of Roosevelt's face or inscriptions like Liberty, and in God we trust appears slightly doubled. These doubling errors are highly prized and can sell for hundreds or even thousands, depending on clarity and rarity. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a small crescent-shaped piece is missing from the coin's edge. While it may look like damage, it's actually a legitimate minting mistake and can be worth significant money when verified by experts. Proof and mint set versions. In addition to the regular circulation strikes, the U.S. Mint also produced special proof versions of the 1981 dime for collectors. These proof coins were struck using polished dies and planchets, giving them mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details. Proof dimes were not released into circulation. They were sold in proof sets directly to collectors. A flawless 1981p proof dime can command impressive prices in the numismatic market, especially if it's graded PR69 or PR70. Collectors love these coins not only for their beauty but also for their historical significance as early p-mint-mark proof issues. Why the 1981p dime became a collector's favorite. What makes the 1981p dime so fascinating is that it bridges two eras of coinage, the traditional designs of the mid-20th century and the modern minting standards of today. It was struck before the mint started implementing major technological updates that would reduce the number of visible errors. That means the 1981p dime still carries that old-school charm, small imperfections, bold lettering, and natural metal toning that collectors adore. Many coin enthusiasts view it as one of the last classic Roosevelt dimes of the 20th century. Over the years, as collectors searched for perfect examples, the supply of high-grade coins began to shrink. Many 1981 dimes were lost, melted, or heavily circulated, making pristine survivors much rarer than people think. How to check if you have a valuable 1981p dime. So, how can you tell if your dime is worth serious money? Here's a quick guide. Check the mint mark. Look just above the date on the coin's obverse. If you see a clear, sharp P, you've got the Philadelphia issue. Inspect the details. Examine Roosevelt's face, the lettering, and the edges under good light or with a magnifying glass. Sharp details and nowhere are a great sign. Look for errors. Search for doubling, off-center strikes, missing letters, or clipped edges. Check for luster. Original mint luster gives a shimmering effect when tilted under light. Get it graded. If your coin looks nearly perfect, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate and assign an official grade, which dramatically increases value. Market demand and modern value. In recent years, interest in modern collectible coins has exploded. With social media and online marketplaces, coin enthusiasts around the world are now more connected than ever. The 1981p dime, with its distinctive place in American coin history, has become a favorite among both new and veteran collectors. Prices have been rising for top-graded specimens and rare error varieties. Some auctions have seen bidding wars for coins that were once overlooked as pocket change. Collectors value the 1981p dime not just for its beauty but also for its historical context, the dawn of modern mint marks and precision minting. Collector tips and final thoughts. If you're new to coin collecting, the 1981p Roosevelt dime is a great place to start. It's affordable, easy to find, and has fascinating varieties that make the hunt exciting. Start by checking your spare change, old coin jars, or inherited coin collections. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Store your coins properly using acid-free holders or coin flips, and keep them in a cool, dry place away from humidity. Avoid cleaning your coins, as cleaning can scratch the surface and drastically reduce value. And if you ever find one that looks unusual, take your time before selling. Get expert opinions and research recent auction results. Some small features could make a huge difference in price. Every coin tells a story, and the 1981p Roosevelt dime is no exception. It represents American innovation, historical respect, and the thrill of discovery. What's more exciting than turning a 10-cent coin into something worth thousands of dollars? We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1984p Roosevelt one-dime coin. You might be holding a small silver-colored coin in your pocket, but what if I told you that this little 10-cent piece could actually be worth a surprising amount of money? That's right, some 1984 Roosevelt dimes are turning heads in the collector world for their history, rarity, and astonishing market value. So stay tuned till the very end because you'll be shocked to hear how much one of these dimes recently sold for. Now let's journey back in time and uncover the full story behind the 1984p Roosevelt dime, how it came to be, what makes it so unique, and why collectors are willing to pay thousands for what appears to be just another dime from your spare change jar. History and background. The Roosevelt dime has been a symbol of American pride and progress since 1946. It was first introduced to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left a lasting legacy on the nation. After Roosevelt's passing in 1945, the U.S. Mint quickly decided to replace the Mercury dime with a new design commemorating his life and contributions. By 1984, the Roosevelt dime had already been circulating for nearly 4 decades. The coin was produced at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but the 1984 P dime from the Philadelphia Mint stands out for a few fascinating reasons. Unlike the earlier years when the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, by 1980, it had begun stamping the letter P on its coins. So, every 1984 dime with a P mark just above the date proudly represents the Philadelphia Mint. The coin itself is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, a combination of copper core with a nickel outer layer. It weighs 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. Though small, this coin has a big story to tell. That design and details. Let's take a closer look at its design. On the obverse side, you'll find the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. The word Liberty is inscribed along the left rim, with "In God We Trust" below his chin, and the year 1984 right beneath his neck. The mint mark P is delicately placed above the date, signifying the Philadelphia Mint's work. The tiny initials JS for John Sinek, the designer, can also be seen near Roosevelt's neck. Flip the coin over to the reverse side, and you'll see a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. The inscriptions "United States of America," "E Pluribus Unum," and "1 dime" complete the coin's elegant and patriotic design. First glance, the 1984 P dime might look ordinary, but its true value hides in the details, especially when it comes to errors, condition, and collector demand. Production and circulation. In 1984, the Philadelphia Mint struck a massive number of dimes, over 946 million coins to be exact. With such a high mintage, you might think these coins are too common to hold any real value. But here's where it gets interesting. Even among hundreds of millions of coins, small minting errors, die variations, and striking anomalies can create unique and highly valuable pieces. Most of these coins circulated heavily, meaning they were used in everyday transactions for decades. They passed through countless hands, vending machines, and cash registers. That's why finding a pristine example of a 1984 P dime today, especially one with a sharp strike, full torch lines, and no signs of wear, is extremely rare. Condition and grading. In the coin collecting world, condition means everything. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A well-circulated coin might grade anywhere between 1 and 40, while coins that are barely touched or completely uncirculated fall in the 60 to 70 range. For the 1984 P dime, most of the coins found in circulation grade between fine and extremely fine. But when collectors discover one in mint state, especially those graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, the value skyrockets. An MS67 or MS68 grade can push the price into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And when a coin shows a full torch, meaning all the vertical and horizontal lines on the torch are perfectly defined, that's when collectors go crazy for it. These full torch dimes, often marked as FB for full bands, are the cream of the crop for Roosevelt dime enthusiasts. Error coins and rare varieties. Now let's talk about the real treasures, the error coins. The 1984 P dime has been found with a number of fascinating minting errors that make them worth serious money. One of the most famous is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin was struck incorrectly. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, values can range from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. Then there's the double die error, a coin where the design appears double due to a misalignment during the minting process. Look closely at the lettering on Liberty or "In God We Trust," and if you see a shadow or doubling effect, you might be holding a rare variety worth a lot more than 10 cents. Another interesting error is the missing mint mark or filled mint mark. In some 1984 P dimes, grease or debris from the minting process filled the letter P, making it faint or completely invisible. These no-mint mark varieties are extremely popular among collectors and can fetch surprising prices in auctions. Market demand and collector interest. The Roosevelt Dime series is one of the most collected in U.S. coinage. People love it because it's modern, affordable, and full of hidden treasures. Even new collectors can start by looking through their change or coin rolls from the bank to see if they can spot rare dates or mint errors. But among all modern dimes, the 1984 piece stands out because of its transitional period and the quality variations in its striking. Collectors constantly search for high-grade examples, and when one appears at auction in pristine condition, bidding wars often break out. In recent years, interest in Roosevelt dimes has grown significantly, especially with more people realizing that modern coins can hold substantial value. It's no longer just about ancient or early 20th century coins. Modern mint errors and top-condition examples are commanding serious attention and serious money. Real examples and record sales. Let's look at some real-world results. In coin auctions, 1984 P dimes graded MS68 with full torch details have reached astonishing prices. For instance, one such coin, perfectly preserved with brilliant luster and no contact marks, sold for several $1,000s. Collectors recognize that even though this coin is only 40 years old, finding one in that flawless condition is almost impossible. The reason these coins sell for so much is simple: rarity within abundance. While there are hundreds of millions of 1984 dimes out there, only a handful are in absolutely perfect condition or contain unique mint errors. That scarcity drives the price higher and higher each year. How to find a valuable 1984 P dime? If you want to try your luck at finding a valuable one yourself, here are a few tips. Start by checking your pocket change, especially older coins that have been sitting in jars or drawers for decades. Dimes are small, so they often go unnoticed. Look for coins that appear extra shiny or have sharp details. Flip them over and inspect the torch lines on the reverse. If they're strong and well-defined, that's a good sign. Also, examine the coin under good lighting to spot any doubling or minting errors. If you believe you have something special, don't clean it. That can ruin its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and have it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Collectability and long-term value. The beauty of the 1984 P dime is that it combines historical importance with modern collectability. As time goes on and more coins get lost, damaged, or melted down, pristine examples will only become rarer. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 1998 D Roosevelt Dime coin. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but for the right collector and in the right condition, it could be worth a stunning amount of money. So stay tuned till the end because we're revealing how this small 10-cent piece can reach an incredible value in the collector's market. And trust me, you don't want to miss that final number. The story behind the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime is more than just a small piece of change. It's a symbol of American pride, remembrance, and resilience. The coin was first introduced in 1946, 1 year after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt wasn't just a president. He was a leader who helped the nation overcome the Great Depression and guided the U.S. through World War II. His image was chosen for the dime to honor his legacy, especially since he founded the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, the disease that affected him personally. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has become a permanent fixture in U.S. currency. It replaced the Mercury dime and has been struck continuously for decades. But not all dimes are created equal. Among the millions produced, a few special pieces stand out due to their rarity, minting errors, or pristine condition. And that's where our 1998 D Roosevelt dime comes into play. Understanding the mint mark D. Let's start with that small but mighty letter, the mint mark. The D on your dime represents the Denver Mint, one of the main mints that produce coins for the United States. In 1998, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of dimes, and most of them entered circulation across the country. But here's the twist: even though millions were minted, certain 1998 D Roosevelt dimes have unique features that make them extremely valuable today. These rare coins aren't your average pocket change. They could have been struck with a special die, made from an error during production, or preserved in flawless condition straight from the mint, making them highly desirable among collectors. The design and details of the 1998 D dime. Now let's talk about the beautiful design that gives this coin its timeless appeal. On the obverse side, you'll see the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. His initials JS are located just below Roosevelt's neckline. The inscriptions include the word Liberty, the national motto In God We Trust, and the date 1998, along with the D mint mark just above Roosevelt's shoulder. Flip it over, and the reverse side displays an elegant trio of symbols. A torch in the center representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength and independence. The words United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime are boldly engraved around the design. Simple, elegant, and deeply symbolic, that's the beauty of the Roosevelt dime. How many were made? In 1998, the Denver Mint produced over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes. That's right, over a billion. With that kind of massive mintage, it's easy to assume that none of these coins could possibly be rare. However, rarity in coin collecting isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect or unusual condition. Most 1998 D dimes went straight into circulation, clinking in pockets, vending machines, and jars for years. Only a few were preserved by collectors or discovered later in stunning condition. Those rare survivors are the ones that can command incredible prices at auctions today. What makes the 1998 D Roosevelt dime valuable? So, what separates a regular 1998 D dime worth 10 cents from one that can fetch thousands of dollars? There are a few major factors. Condition, grade. The most important factor is the condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. A coin graded MS70, mint state 70, is a flawless coin with no marks or scratches, exactly as it left the mint. 1998 D Roosevelt dime in MS67 or higher condition can already sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Mint errors. Error coins are like hidden treasures. During the minting process, mistakes can happen: double dies, off-center strikes, missing elements, or misaligned dies. Some 1998 D dimes were struck slightly off-center or showed doubling in letters and numbers, making them rare collectibles. Full bands, FB. Roosevelt dimes with sharp, fully struck horizontal lines called full bands on the torch's handle are more valuable. The better the details, the more collectors want them. Rarity and eye appeal. A perfectly shiny, well-struck, and visually appealing 1998 D dime with strong luster and no blemishes can make all the difference. Collectors pay top dollar for coins that look like they were minted yesterday. Interesting error varieties found in 1998 D dimes. There are a few fascinating error varieties known for this year. Some collectors have found double die obverse, DDO coins, where you can see doubling in the word liberty, or in God we trust. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't perfectly centered when struck. Clipped planchet errors, where a small curved portion of the coin is missing, making it look like someone took a small bite out of it. Each of these errors can make your dime worth far more than its face value, sometimes even in the thousands. How to identify a valuable 1998 D dime? If you have a 1998 D dime, here's what to look for. Check the mint mark D. Make sure it's clear and well-defined. Inspect the coin under a magnifying glass for any doubling on the text or date. Look closely at the torch on the reverse side. If the lines are crisp and fully visible, it could have full bands. Examine the coin's surface and edges. Any unusual shapes, die cracks, or smooth areas could mean it's an error coin. And finally, check the overall shine. If it still gleams like new, it might be uncirculated and worth grading. How to protect and preserve your Roosevelt dime? If you believe you found a valuable dime, handle it carefully. Never clean or polish your coin. That can damage its surface and reduce its value dramatically. Store it in a coin holder or protective capsule, and consider sending it to a professional grading service for authentication. Graded coins are sealed in protective holders that verify their authenticity and grade, which helps boost their value on the collector's market. Collecting Roosevelt dimes, a smart hobby investment. Many coin collectors begin their journey with Roosevelt dimes because they're affordable, easy to find, and full of history. Collecting them by year and mint mark is a fun and educational hobby. Some collectors even specialize in finding high-grade or error dimes from specific years, and those collections can become valuable over time. What's more, coins like the 1998 D dime hold both historical and sentimental value. They remind us of an era of American strength and leadership, and of a president who inspired a nation through tough times. Famous auction sales. Over the years, certain 1998 D Roosevelt dimes have been sold at impressive prices in auctions and private sales. A few high-grade examples graded MS68 with full bands have crossed the $1,000 mark, and error varieties have fetched even more. But there's one extraordinary 1998 D Roosevelt dime that became the talk of the coin community when it sold for a truly eye-popping price, one that proves even a 10-cent coin can shine like a diamond in the rough. The real value of the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime. While most 1998 D dimes will remain worth 10 cents, some rare examples with flawless condition, mint errors, or full bands can command jaw-dropping prices among collectors. Imagine holding a simple dime in your hand, something millions of people have used to buy candy, pay for parking, or toss in a fountain for luck, and discovering it's worth thousands of dollars. That's the magic of coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt. The mystery hidden in plain sight. So, the next time you get change back from the store, don't just toss that dime aside. Take a closer look. Who knows? You might be holding one of those extraordinary coins that could change your fortune. Conclusion: from its creation in 1946 to its continued production today, the Roosevelt Dime remains an enduring piece of American history, a tribute to leadership, courage, and national pride. The 1998 D Roosevelt Dime, in particular, stands out for its potential rarity, stunning errors, and high-grade examples that have captured the imagination of collectors everywhere. A simple coin with a deep story, a lasting design, and a surprising market value. That's what makes numismatics so fascinating. We're diving into the fascinating world of the United States of America's 2007 P. Roosevelt $1 coin. This little 10-cent piece might look ordinary at first glance, something you might find jingling in your pocket or resting at the bottom of a coin jar. But behind its small size lies a big story filled with history, design, minting details, and surprising collector value. Stick around until the very end, because we're revealing how one of these 2007 P. Roosevelt dimes shocked collectors with a jaw-dropping value you won't believe. History and origin. The Roosevelt dime has a legacy that stretches back more than 7 decades. Introduced in 1946, it was created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. After Roosevelt's death in 1945, Americans wanted to commemorate his leadership, especially his efforts to combat polio and guide the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The dime was chosen as the coin to bear his image because of his close connection with the March of Dimes, a campaign he supported to fight polio. The 2007 P. Roosevelt dime continues that legacy. It carries forward the same design that first appeared over half a century ago. Even though technology, society, and currency production have evolved dramatically, this coin still reflects American pride, resilience, and continuity through its timeless design and symbolism. The design of the 2007 P. Roosevelt dime was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time of the coin's introduction. On the obverse, the front side, you'll see a detailed profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt. His confident expression, facing left, captures his determination and leadership. Above his head, the word liberty stands boldly, while the phrase "In God We Trust" lies just below his chin. To the right of the portrait is the year 2007, and near the neckline is the letter P, representing the Philadelphia Mint. Where this coin was struck, on the reverse side, the dime carries one of the most meaningful designs in U.S. coinage. At the center stands a flaming torch, symbolizing freedom. To its left is an olive branch, representing peace, and to its right, an oak branch, standing for strength and independence. Together, these elements express the enduring American values that Roosevelt himself embodied: liberty, unity, and strength. Surrounding these images is the inscription United States of America, along with E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. Finally, at the bottom you'll find the denomination, $1. Minting details. Now let's take a closer look at how this coin came to be. The 2007 P. Roosevelt dime was minted in Philadelphia, one of the primary facilities of the U.S. Mint. In 2007, millions of these coins were produced for circulation. Each dime is composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition, a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel on the outer layers, bonded to a pure copper core. This combination gives the dime its distinctive silvery shine and durability. Each coin weighs about 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, with a reeded edge featuring 118 tiny grooves. These fine details help distinguish genuine coins from counterfeits and have remained consistent across the decades. Although the 2007 P dime was struck in large numbers, not all dimes are created equal. Some left the mint with remarkable precision, mirror-like finishes, or unique die errors that make them incredibly valuable today. Error coins and varieties collectors are always on the lookout for unique varieties and minting errors, and the 2007 P Roosevelt Dime is no exception. Even a small difference from the standard design can make a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most desirable types of errors is the double die. When a coin's design is struck twice by accident, creating a shadow-like doubling on letters or numbers. Another fascinating error involves off-center strikes, where the design is slightly misaligned, showing blank areas on the surface. There are also die cracks, where the minting die itself develops a fracture, leaving raised lines on the coin. Some 2007 P Roosevelt dimes have also been discovered with missing clad layers, revealing the pure copper core underneath. These types of errors are rare and highly sought after by collectors who specialize in modern U.S. coins. A pristine example of such a coin can easily sell for hundreds of dollars, depending on its condition and the visibility of the error. Grading and condition. The condition of a coin plays a major role in determining its market value. Collectors and grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company, evaluate each coin based on its wear, strike quality, and overall appearance. Coins that show heavy wear from circulation, known as good or fine condition, typically hold only face value. But those that have been well preserved, showing sharp details and lustrous surfaces, can reach much higher prices. Mint state MS coins graded from MS60 to MS70 are especially prized. For example, a 2007 P Roosevelt Dime in MS67 or MS68 condition, with flawless luster, sharp edges, and no visible scratches, can attract strong interest from collectors. Even though the difference between an MS66 and MS68 grade might seem small, it can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value difference. That's the power of grading precision in numismatics. Collector appeal and significance. So why do collectors love the 2007 P Roosevelt Dime so much? Beyond its small size, it represents an enduring American tradition. Every time you hold one of these coins, you're holding a symbol of leadership, courage, and unity. Even though it's a relatively modern coin, the 2007 P Dime marks an important chapter in the Roosevelt Dime series. It continues to remind collectors that even in the 21st century, U.S. coinage remains steeped in heritage. Many collectors also love to build complete sets of Roosevelt dimes, from 1946 all the way to the latest releases, and finding a flawless 2007 P can be one of the most satisfying additions. But what really sets the 2007 P Dime apart are those rare, high-grade specimens and unique minting errors that have shocked the numismatic world with their exceptional value. Market trends and auction stories. Over the past decade, modern coin collecting has experienced a huge surge in popularity. Social media, online auctions, and numismatic conventions have introduced a new generation to the thrill of treasure hunting and everyday change. Coins like the 2007 P Roosevelt Dime have become stars among modern collectors, proving that even relatively new coins can hold incredible value when preserved in top condition. Several examples of 2007 P Roosevelt dimes have appeared at coin shows and auctions in gem condition, stunning collectors with their sharp strikes and brilliant finishes. High-grade examples certified by PCGS or NGC have commanded impressive prices, especially when they display full torch details, known as full bands or full torch designations, indicating a crisp, complete strike on the reverse torch. Some collectors have even found valuable varieties hiding in their pocket change or coin rolls purchased from banks. Imagine finding a dime worth thousands while searching through a simple roll of coins. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Tips for finding and identifying valuable 2007 P dimes. If you want to check whether you might have a valuable 2007 P Roosevelt dime, here's what to look for. First, examine the coin surface under good lighting. Look for sharp, clear details on Roosevelt's face and hair, and on the torch and branches on the reverse side. Next, inspect for any unusual markings, doubling, or off-center features. A small magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can make a big difference in spotting subtle details. Also, check the coin's condition. If your 2007 P dime shows no scratches, nicks, or dull spots, and retains its full original luster, it could be worth submitting to a grading service for professional evaluation. Certified coins with high mint state grades have a much higher resale value among collectors. Preserve your coins carefully. Store them in acid-free holders or coin capsules to protect against air, moisture, and fingerprints. Even the tiniest blemish can reduce a coin's value dramatically. The legacy of the Roosevelt dime. As the decades pass, the Roosevelt dime continues to hold its place as one of America's most iconic coins. It has survived the transition from silver to clad metal, seen countless economic changes, and still remains an everyday part of American commerce. Yet, despite being common in circulation, special pieces like the 2007 P dime remind us that true treasure can hide in plain sight. Each coin tells a story of craftsmanship, history, and discovery. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, the search for rare dimes keeps the spirit of collecting alive. The Roosevelt dime not only celebrates a great leader, but also connects generations through the shared excitement of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of United States coins, where small pieces of metal can carry stories, mysteries, and sometimes massive value. In this video, we will explore one of the modern coins that many people overlook every single day, the 2009 D Roosevelt 1 dime coin. It may look like just another small coin in your pocket, but behind that tiny silver face lies a story of history, artistry, and surprising value. So sit tight and get ready to uncover everything you need to know about the 2009 D Roosevelt dime, its design, minting history, varieties, and how some of these dimes are worth a lot more than 10 cents. The history of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, right after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The United States Mint decided to honor him by placing his portrait on the 10-cent coin. Roosevelt wasn't just a political leader, he was also a major supporter of the March of Dimes, an organization that helped fight polio. That's one reason the dime became the perfect denomination to bear his likeness. John R. Cynic, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time, was the designer of the Roosevelt dime. His initials, JS, can still be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse side. The coin replaced the Mercury dime, which had been in circulation from 1916 to 1945. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has remained in continuous production with only minor changes over the decades. The 2009 D Roosevelt dime, a modern coin with a story. Now let's jump forward to 2009. This was a significant year in American coinage history for several reasons. The U.S. Mint was producing multiple designs of Lincoln cents to celebrate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the economic conditions during that time were affecting how many coins were being minted. Demand for coins was lower because of the economic downturn, which led to lower mintages for some denominations, including the dime. The 2009 D Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for producing circulating coinage for the United States. While billions of Roosevelt dimes have been made over the decades, the 2009 mintage stood out because of its relatively smaller production compared to other modern years. That smaller number makes it more interesting to collectors today, especially when it comes to finding high-quality, uncirculated examples or coins with unique minting errors. Design details that matter. Every coin collector knows that details make all the difference. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Around the edge, you'll see the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," the date 2009, and of course the mint mark D for Denver, which appears just above Roosevelt's shoulder. On the reverse, there's a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. The inscriptions "United States of America," "E Pluribus Unum," and "1 dime" complete the design. Even though this design might seem simple, the sharpness of the strike, the luster, and even tiny imperfections in the coin can all affect its value dramatically. Collectors pay special attention to things like full torch lines on the reverse, which show that the coin was well struck and has strong detail, composition, and appearance. By 2009, the composition of the Roosevelt dime had long since changed from the original 90% silver used before 1965. The modern version is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs about 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Even though it's not made of precious metal, it's the condition and rarity that make it valuable. Why the 2009 D Roosevelt dime stands out. The 2009 D dime might seem common, but it's one of those coins that can surprise collectors when examined closely. Many of these dimes were struck with slightly weak designs, meaning finding one with strong detail and perfect surfaces is quite challenging. Additionally, coin grading plays a big role. A regular circulated 2009 D dime might only be worth its face value, but a high-grade uncirculated coin can sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on the condition. Some rare varieties and error coins from this year are even more desirable. These include coins with die cracks, off-center strikes, missing letters, or double die obverse, each of which can make your dime extremely valuable to collectors. Rare errors and varieties to watch for. Let's talk about a few potential varieties and errors that could make a 2009 D Roosevelt Dime stand out. Double die obverse, DDO. This is when the coin's design shows doubling in letters or numbers due to a misalignment during the minting process. You might see doubling on Liberty, or In God We Trust. Off-center strike. If the coin wasn't perfectly centered when struck, part of the design might be missing. Depending on how much of the design is off, this could significantly raise its value. Clipped planchet. A portion of the coin's edge is missing because of a mistake in cutting the metal blanks. Die crack or cut error. Sometimes cracks appear on the coin from a damaged die. These small imperfections can attract collectors who love unique pieces. Even minor errors can push a dime's value well beyond its face value. If you find one with such features in excellent condition, you could be looking at a small fortune in your pocket change. The importance of coin grading. Now let's talk about grading. Professional coin grading determines the condition of your coin, which directly influences its value. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state MS, coins ranging from 60 to MS 70. 2009 D dime graded MS 65 or higher can be worth several times its face value. But if you find one that's MS 67, MS 68, or even a perfect MS 70, that's when you start entering the high-value territory that collectors and investors love. These coins are pristine with no visible wear or damage, and their sharp details make them stand out under magnification. How to identify a valuable 2009 D Roosevelt Dime. You don't need to be an expert to start looking for value. Here's what to check. Look for a strong strike with full torch lines on the reverse. Examine the coin's surface, no scratches, dents, or discoloration. Check for mint errors or any odd features that make it unique. Verify the mint mark. You're specifically looking for the D for Denver. If you believe your coin could be in mint condition, consider having it graded by PCGS or NGC, the top grading companies. Collecting modern dimes. A growing hobby. Many collectors are turning to modern coins like the 2009 D Roosevelt Dime because they're still affordable to find in circulation, yet they hold the potential for major returns. It's a perfect entry point for new collectors who want to explore U.S. coinage history without spending thousands on older pieces. Moreover, these dimes connect us to American history. The Roosevelt Dime symbolizes liberty, leadership, and resilience, values that define the nation. Owning a well-preserved 2009 D dime isn't just about having a valuable coin. It's about holding a piece of American craftsmanship that reflects an era of economic challenge and recovery. How to store and preserve your dimes. If you're lucky enough to find a high-grade 2009 D Roosevelt Dime, proper storage is key to maintaining its condition. Use protective holders or coin flips made of mylar or acid-free materials. Avoid PVC holders since they can damage the coin's surface over time. Keep your coins in a cool, dry place away from humidity and direct sunlight. Handle them by the edges, never the faces, to avoid leaving fingerprints or oils that could reduce their value. For high-value pieces, consider using a coin album or sending them for professional encapsulation in a graded slab. Why some collectors pay big money for modern coins. Collectors value rarity, condition, and historical importance. Even though the 2009 D dime is not centuries old, its lower mintage, error varieties, and exceptional uncirculated examples make it highly sought after. Some collectors want to complete their Roosevelt Dime series with every year and mint mark, while others focus only on the rarest high-grade coins. The truth is, modern coins are gaining attention because they're easier to find in the wild and still have potential to appreciate over time. A dime that costs 10 cents today might be worth hundreds, or thousands tomorrow, depending on collector demand and market trends. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of a small yet mighty piece of American history, the 2011 D Roosevelt Dime. This tiny coin, often overlooked in pocket change, carries with it decades of legacy, intricate details, and a surprising value story that may just blow your mind. So if you've ever wondered how a simple dime minted in Denver could be worth far more than 10 cents, stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll discover what makes some of these dimes so special, how to spot the rare ones, and what collectors are paying for them today. History and design. Let's start by going back in time to understand where the 2011 D Roosevelt Dime fits in the proud history of U.S. coinage. The Roosevelt Dime was first introduced in 1946, created to honor one of America's most beloved presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. After his death in 1945, the U.S. Mint and Congress wanted to commemorate his legacy, especially his connection with the March of Dimes, a campaign that fought against polio, the very disease Roosevelt himself suffered from. The design, created by John R. Sinek, features a profile portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side. His face is a symbol of courage, determination, and hope, qualities that carried the nation through some of its darkest times. From the Great Depression to World War II. On the reverse side, you'll find three simple but powerful symbols: a torch representing liberty, an olive branch for peace, and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. These emblems have remained unchanged for decades, giving the dime a timeless and meaningful appearance. Now fast forward to 2011. The Roosevelt Dime had already been in production for over 6 decades, and that year the Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark, struck millions of these coins. But among those countless dimes, some stand out as rare, unique, and highly desirable among collectors. Mintage and specifications. The 2011 D Roosevelt Dime is composed of a clad combination of copper and nickel, weighing 2.27 grams and measuring 17.9 millimeters in diameter. It features a reeded edge like all modern dimes and carries the inscriptions, "Liberty, In God We Trust, 2011, and the D Mint mark. While over 1 billion dimes were minted in Denver that year, not all of them were created equal. The vast majority went into circulation, exchanged countless times in grocery stores, vending machines, and parking meters. But a handful were struck with special precision or contained striking errors that transformed them from everyday change into pieces worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectible value and rarity. So what makes the 2011 D Roosevelt Dime valuable? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and errors. First, condition is everything. Coins that have been preserved in mint state, MS condition untouched, with no scratches, discoloration, or wear, are worth far more than those that have circulated. Collectors often look for coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, with grades ranging from MS60 up to a perfect MS70. An ordinary circulated 2011 D dime might only be worth its face value, 10 cents. But when you find one in pristine condition, especially one that exhibits a strong strike, full bands on the torch, and a flawless surface, the price can rise dramatically. Now let's talk about what really excites collectors: minting errors. These mistakes can occur during the striking process, and while most are caught before the coins leave the mint, a few slip through the cracks and end up in circulation. Types of valuable errors. One of the most popular errors is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the blank planchet wasn't properly aligned. Depending on how off-center the strike is, these can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars. Another rare find is the double die error, where the coin shows slight doubling on the lettering or portrait due to a misalignment in the die process. Look closely at the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." If you see doubling, you may be holding a valuable piece. Then there are planchet errors, such as wrong metal compositions or missing clad layers, which can result in unique color tones or weight differences. Some collectors have reported 2011 D dimes struck on blank planchets meant for foreign coins, which makes them extremely rare and highly sought after. And don't forget about proof-like surfaces, coins that were not intended for proof sets but still display mirror-like finishes. These can catch a collector's eye instantly and often bring premium prices. Market trends and collector demand. The market for Roosevelt dimes has grown steadily in recent years. Collectors are starting to pay more attention to modern coins, realizing that certain years, mint marks, and error types can hold immense future value. The 2011 D dime, though relatively new, fits perfectly into this growing demand. What's fascinating is how quickly modern coin values can change. Just a few years ago, nobody thought that dimes from the 2000s would be worth more than face value. But today, top-graded examples and rare varieties are being sold in auctions and private collections for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For example, a 2011 D dime graded MS69 or higher can bring impressive prices, especially if it displays exceptional strike details or comes from a special mint set. Collectors are drawn to these coins because they represent a modern era of minting precision combined with the thrill of rarity. How to identify and preserve your coin. If you want to check if your 2011 D dime might be valuable, start by examining it closely under good lighting. Look at the mint mark, check for any unusual features, doubling or discoloration, and pay attention to the edges for signs of misalignment or layering issues. Using a magnifying glass or coin loupe helps you notice details that are invisible to the naked eye. If you think your coin could be special, don't clean it. Cleaning can actually destroy the coin's value by leaving micro scratches on the surface. Instead, store it in a protective holder or flip to prevent damage from air and moisture. Collectors often send potentially valuable coins to grading companies for authentication and certification. Once graded, the coin's value can significantly increase because buyers trust certified grades as proof of authenticity and condition. Historical importance and collecting appeal. The Roosevelt Dime series is one of the most enduring and respected in U.S. history. Since 1946, it has remained largely unchanged, serving as a daily reminder of a president who led America through challenging times. What makes collecting Roosevelt dimes so exciting is the blend of accessibility and surprise. Anyone can start by checking their pocket change, and you never know when you might stumble upon a rare or valuable variety. For many collectors, the 2011 D dime represents the continuation of a proud minting tradition, modern yet rooted in history. It's part of the generation of coins that bridge the 20th and 21st centuries, showing how American craftsmanship has evolved while preserving its legacy. Stories from collectors. Many stories have surfaced from collectors who found valuable Roosevelt dimes purely by chance. A hobbyist in Texas discovered a nearly flawless 2011 D dime in his change that later graded MS-68, fetching hundreds of dollars at auction. Another collector reported finding a double die example, with subtle but visible doubling in the lettering, selling it to a specialist for a surprising sum. These real-life discoveries prove that valuable coins aren't just buried treasure, they're still circulating in everyday life, waiting for sharp-eyed collectors to spot them. Future potential. So, what does the future hold for the 2011 D Roosevelt dime? Experts believe that as time passes, high-grade and error-free examples will become even rarer. Circulation and wear naturally reduce the number of pristine coins available, meaning those kept in mint condition could continue to appreciate in value. Yes, collectors seek to complete modern dime sets or specialize in mint era coins. The 2011 D will remain an essential and exciting part of their collections. Its balance of history, symbolism, and potential worth makes it more than just a dime. It's a small but meaningful piece of American heritage. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the 2015 D Roosevelt one-dime coin. At first glance, it may look like just another small piece of change in your pocket. But what if I told you that one of these coins, under the right conditions, could be worth thousands of dollars today? That's right. This little silver-colored coin, minted in Denver, carries more mystery, detail, and hidden value than most people ever realize. So sit back, relax, and let's uncover the history, design, and secret potential of the 2015 D Roosevelt dime. Before we talk about the 2015 D dime itself, let's take a short trip back in time to understand how this remarkable series began. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor the 32nd President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Roosevelt had passed away the year before, and because of his strong leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, the nation wanted to pay tribute to his legacy. But there's another reason the dime was chosen for Roosevelt's portrait. He was a key supporter of the March of Dimes, an organization founded to fight polio, a disease he personally battled throughout much of his life. His image on the dime became a symbol of courage and determination, and the coin quickly became one of America's most cherished pieces of currency. Over the decades, the design of the Roosevelt dime has remained largely unchanged, a rare continuity in U.S. coinage. The obverse side, or heads, features Roosevelt's portrait, while the reverse, or tails, showcases a torch representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Now let's jump ahead to the year 2015. This was a busy time for the U.S. Mint, producing billions of coins for circulation. The D Mint mark on the 2015 dime tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most productive mints in the nation. Denver has a long history of precision minting, dating all the way back to 1906. Coins from the Denver Mint often display sharp details, bold strikes, and clear features, which are all key factors that collectors look for when determining a coin's value. However, not every coin that leaves the Denver Mint is perfect. Some have small imperfections, minting errors or variations, that make them extremely rare. These mistakes often go unnoticed by the general public, but for collectors, they can mean the difference between a dime worth 10 cents and one worth thousands of dollars. The 2015 D Roosevelt Dime continues the modern composition style that began in 1965. It is made of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, a mix of copper on the inside with a nickel coating on the outside. This gives it that shiny silver color while keeping production costs low. The coin weighs about 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Although it's small, every detail of the coin tells a story. On the obverse side, we see the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The inscriptions include Liberty, In God We Trust, the date 2015, and of course the mint mark D. On the reverse, the central torch is surrounded by the olive and oak branches. The inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime circle the design. It's simple, elegant, and symbolic. A true piece of American pride. Most 2015 D dimes are worth only their face value 10 cents. However, certain conditions and varieties can make a massive difference. Let's look at what to watch for if you think you have a special one. First, condition is key. Coins that have never been circulated and remain in mint state condition, often graded as MS65 or higher, are the most desirable to collectors. These coins show no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. Their luster is bright and the strike details are sharp. Second, minting errors. Some 2015 D Roosevelt dimes were struck off-center, meaning the design is slightly misaligned. Others show doubling on the lettering or Roosevelt's profile, known as a double die error. Still, others might feature weak strikes or partial collars, which are all examples of mint anomalies that add incredible value. Lastly, there's toning, the natural change in color that can happen over time due to exposure to air and moisture. Beautiful rainbow-like toning or deep golden hues can actually make a coin more attractive to collectors. Collectors are always searching for these unique flaws because they make each coin one of a kind. Let's talk about a few possible errors found in some 2015 D Roosevelt dimes that have attracted attention. Off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies during striking. The result is a dime where part of the design is missing or shifted. Depending on how much the strike is off-center, such errors can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Double die obverse. This is one of the most sought-after errors. It happens when the die used to strike the coin has a doubled image. Look closely at the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. If you notice any doubling, you may have something valuable. Die cracks or cuts. Sometimes cracks form on the die during the minting process, and when coins are struck, those cracks appear as raised lines or lumps on the coin's surface. These small imperfections can make a coin stand out to specialists. Missing clad layer. This is a rare but fascinating error where one side of the coin loses its outer nickel coating, exposing the copper core beneath. It gives the dime a two-tone appearance and can fetch high prices among collectors. If you believe your 2015 D Roosevelt dime is in exceptional condition or shows signs of an error, it's crucial to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations evaluate coins under strict conditions and assign them a grade, which helps determine their market value. A high-grade 2015 D dime, for example, one graded MS68 or MS69, can command premium prices at auctions and online sales. Even a seemingly ordinary coin can surprise you once it's professionally authenticated and encapsulated in a protective holder. You might be wondering where to find these valuable pieces. The answer is simple. Anywhere. Check your change, coin rolls from the bank, or even old coin jars at home. Many people unknowingly spend coins that could be worth far more than their face value. Coin roll hunting is a fun and rewarding hobby where collectors search through bank rolls in hopes of discovering rare errors or high-grade examples. It's a bit like a treasure hunt. Every roll holds the potential for discovery. The U.S. coin market has grown tremendously in recent years, with collectors from around the world paying close attention to modern issues. Dimes, in particular, remain highly collectible because of their rich history, beautiful design, and connection to Franklin D. Roosevelt. Even though billions were minted in 2015, the true gems are those that remain in perfect condition or contain minting errors. Prices for these coins can range anywhere from a few dollars to several thousand, depending on rarity and grade. Online platforms like eBay and heritage auctions often feature 2015 D dimes in various conditions. Some of the finest examples, graded and preserved, have fetched impressive amounts due to their stunning details and flawless surfaces. Collecting Roosevelt dimes isn't just about money, it's about history, art, and connection. Each dime represents a piece of American heritage. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned numismatist, there's something satisfying about holding a small piece of metal that tells a larger story. The Roosevelt dime also teaches us that even the smallest things in life, like a 10-cent coin, can carry great value. They remind us to look closely, to appreciate the craftsmanship, and to never overlook the potential hidden in everyday objects. If you're new to coin collecting, here are a few helpful tips to get started. Handle coins carefully. Always hold them by the edges and avoid touching the faces to prevent oils from your fingers from damaging the surface. Store properly. Keep coins in protective holders or albums to prevent scratches and tarnish. Learn to grade. Understanding coin grading helps you recognize value and condition differences. Stay updated. Follow coin news, attend shows, and engage with online communities to keep learning about new discoveries. Be patient. Coin collecting is a long-term hobby. Sometimes the most valuable finds come when you least expect them, so there you have it. The story behind the 2015 D Roosevelt Dime. A small but mighty coin filled with history, artistry, and potential. It may be one of the most overlooked coins in your pocket, but under the right conditions, this 10-cent piece could transform into something extraordinary.